A small introduction is needed here. And actually, I'm going to scroll through the last. I would generally consider this as a Satish Narayan judgment because he wrote much of the judgment. Mr. Shantagaudar just quietly, Chief Justice was simply sitting quiet. Maybe they're in consultation, or maybe they gave Satish Narayan all the credit, maybe. So this is the judgment. This was, I think it was done in 2016, and it was uh, based on an appeal done against the previous judgment, which actually opened up the floodgates and gave, no, again, which Prasad brought about, challenging the Panchayat to release him the license, and he got it. And the residents were unhappy with the whole thing, and this is the appeal against that. And this is how it went. And this was appellant. The appellant was Biju, Rajkumar, and K. Murray. So this is an appeal. And there's a counter respondent, and they also did one counter affidavit. They also filed against this or the previous one. I do not know, but it all was a conflict. So this is a combination of that. So let me run through that. The initial part you can just run through. This is actually a special Foxit PDF, and you will see what is the benefit of it. And um, there is some interesting thing there. You will be able to, it will have some audio, embedded audio. I've pre-prepared that so that you will be able to see some of this. I'm going to skip some of the earlier ones, which is forward and telling how the case came about and all that. Pollution code will be known as PCB and all that kind of fine. Okay, in the allegation, the residents of the emissions, okay, the residents are saying that the noxious emissions from the plant. So that's how our case is being presented, okay, and highly carcinogen and all the kind of thing. It's all statements, okay, you must understand. We'll come to it later. And it was also to take it into consideration the primary health care center, the medical officer, that was also presented, you know. I was submitted to the secretary of the Panchayat, pointing out the consequences of the inhalation of smoke, and that people fell down, fainted, and all that. That is all heard of. A true copy of the complaint from the inhabitants' locality, the Panchayat has refrained from issuing license to the unit. So that is what kind of held back the license at that point in time. I don't know when the license was given, but the third client, the grant of sanction one is illegal and is liable to be interfered with. I don't know whether the license was already given or not yet given. I'm not too sure that this on this day. The owner there has filed a counter affidavit denying the allegations. Okay, fine. Let's say that is the Prasad. They go and counter affidavit. The unit is functioning with. You see, this is very interesting. His statement: the unit is functioning with all required license, permissions, and sanctions from all statutory and competent authorities. And this you can see a lot of people echoing in our place. This is the message that they have been giving. This is their messaging, okay? You must understand. The allegation that the pollution and health are also denied. It's an allegation. You must understand. It's an allegation. Oh, here comes the interesting thing. This is Abraham Sampson is our residence lawyer, appearing on behalf of the residents. Jacob Alex appearing for Kutikan. Okay, here's the interesting. Learned counsel appearing for the residents, taking through the entire material. And so I am going to play the audio. My question on this regard would be, when you argue a point that the current measurement is wrong and the പറയുമ്പോൾ alternate measurements ഒരു sensible recording or measurements കാണിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടോ? I doubt so. So if you don't have something to compare against, how would you convince the court? And I don't see anywhere where it is being argued or inserted that you should refer it to EPA, അങ്ങനെ ഒരു വേൾഡ് വൈഡ് സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ്സിനോട് റിഫർ ചെയ്യാനൊന്നും കാണുന്നില്ല. Okay, so let's go on to the next point. So that is what my point is, that this has not been done pretty well. They didn't do a good job. You're only staying on observation. And I have a message on observation. Just a current observation, and correlation does not relate to causation. I have already shown you that there's a reason. So the courts take those things very well. So you need to have better than that to drive home the point. And okay, then you're saying where is it situated and all that. They go through all the big stories. So we are more interested in, finally it is directed, the unit shall be considered as a permanent one. How did it become permanent? Your answer. The environmental engineer of the PCB was directed to ensure implementation and proper functioning of all the pollution control measures as specified in the circular. This is a past circular. This is before this year. I don't have, because this is an exhibit and I don't have, and I don't even need that exhibit. So, because it has been nicely referred to, I can imagine what that could be. There was a further directive of the environment engineer to conduct ambient air quality monitoring. Do we need to see all the exhibits? There, it is quite clearly explained. And so that was ordered by the previous court. Okay, let me play that audio. Okay, let's come to the important part there. It is under paragraph number 8. Let's jump to this point. The environmental engineer of the PCB was directed to ensure implementation and proper functioning of all pollution control measures as specified in the circular dated such and such. And there was further directive of the environmental engineer to conduct ambient air quality monitoring the premises of the unit. See, premises ne പറയുന്നുള്ളൂ. ഇവിടെ തന്നെ the judge has made a bloody big mistake. When the plant is fully functional എന്ന് പറയേണ്ടിയായിരുന്നു. So അത് പറയാത്ത കാരണം he made use of the loophole and he said specified in the National Ambient Air Quality Standards. So നമുക്ക് അത് refer ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട് നമ്മൾ National Air Quality Standards. A detailed report in this regard was sought for. Pursuant thereto, exhibit dated serving, pointing out that the monitoring ambient quality was conducted on March 1st, 2016 through the National Accredited Board for Testing and Calibration. ഒരു ലാബേ ഉള്ളൂ, അതാണ് Enviro Designs Echo Lab എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ലാബ്. അയാളുടെ അതിൻ്റെ ഓണറിൻ്റെ എവിഡൻസ് നിങ്ങൾ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടെന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു. ഈ കേട്ടിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ ചോദിക്കുക. I will give it to you again. It is an interesting statement. He says pollution control board do not have the capabilities, and അവരുടെ റിപ്പോർട്ട് തന്നെ എങ്ങനെയാ ചെയ്തതെന്ന് തന്നെ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. So you understand that very clearly, please. So I'm urging you to pay attention to detail, listen to things and read things. അങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റഡ് ആണെന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആൾക്കാർ. And start critically thinking. എവിടെയാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ പ്രശ്നം വന്നിട്ടുള്ളത്? Admit our faults. നമുക്ക് പറ്റിയിട്ടുള്ള മടയത്തരം, it's not entirely our fault. നമ്മൾ trust ചെയ്ത lawyers threw us under the bus and made a mockery out of the whole system. And Pollution Control Board took us for a ride, and the court thinks they are the experts. So who do you find fault with? You may have to go and beat up Pollution Control Board. See, Pollution Control Board in the Paranal, they are supposed to represent us. They are supposed to control pollution, but they can't even control themselves. They can't control themselves. അവരുടെ മനസ്സും അവരുടെ കൈയും അവരുടെ പോക്കറ്റും കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യാൻ ഒക്കത്തില്ല അവർക്ക്. So that one you understand now. So you see, hence the argument that the Learned Council for the residents with reference to PCB norms cannot. Hence the argument of the Learned Council, that is Samson's Residents Committee lawyer, cannot be accepted. I really emphasize, and I see that I see nowhere where our lawyer discredits the Pollution Control Board. They have nothing to discredit them. And that is where I see the massive failure. Looks like as though our lawyer was playing along, he was blindsided, he has nothing to do, and he has no clue. And by the way, all the information that I have with reference to that, even before I consider the legal team on the other side, I already had it from the net. So trust me, this I consider a massive failure, and this is why you lost the case. My argument closed. You see, you're gone. At this stage, it is necessary to refer to the affidavit filed by the environmental engineer of the PCB. It is pointed out to control the emissions from the unit. Necessary water scrubbing, chimney height, and all these things have been provisioned and found to be adequate. There are no residents within. These are all what they are stating. These are residents. There are no residents within 100 meters of the unit, and the sitting criteria stipulates only 50 meters. You see, these are all rules that they have amended and they have set. And from where they got these rules, we do not know. Maybe they are misusing a quarry rule for as for for a hot mix plant. They are misusing a rule that was meant for something else. Flying rocks and those kind of things, you only need to be 50 to 100 meters. And here, they're using that kind of rules to suit here. And I think that is where the mistake is. And it is stated the unit is located in a low-lying area. And so now they're talking about chimney height and all that. So this is another talking point that the people use. This is the talking point he's spread around among the people about just because even Mukesh Murali has said the same story. Just because the plant, the chimney is another 35 meters taller, everything is great. That's what he is conveying the message. You see, look at where the stupidity is all going. The affidavit also refers to some exhibit dated, issued by the member secretary, environmental engineer to the member secretary, referring to the report by environmental designs, or must be the same report, or maybe letter dated, whether they stated another letter or not, I do not know. I think it's the same report. It specifically stated the inspection of the unit was conducted, or maybe they're saying the inspection was conducted on a certain date. And this inspection all was done on a fake kind of conditions, Okay, that is we don't. And we have no record here that this was argued and this was objected to by our lawyers. That is another piece of point, the court is simply saying, from the judgment only we can know what is happening. It is stated that the monitoring was conducted from this time to this time. Actually, national air quality is not one day, and the conditions is stipulated. None of this is a very loose judgment, okay? We do not know what is the argument, and nobody can tell us what is the argument. And so we will go back and ask Samson one more time, and he will get this recording, and he will have one more chance to talk about all this. Although I have spoken to him about it, didn't blame him too much on all these things. And okay, but in hindsight, everything is 2020. We have much clearer. The term 2020 is vision. 20 over 20 lines. Okay, fine. Generally says it. All right. Now it has nothing to do with the Valambalam, Samani, Ernakulam, that Sabu Jacobs issue. That 2020 is totally different. But he's pretty much there. He has got a vision. All right. Here. So now here is the interesting thing. Now at this point it is made clear from this judgment, that our lawyer argued on this point that there was yellow colored smoke and he was using observation. And once again, remember, observation Correlation does not prove causation. That is statistics. You need to know that the court probably can use that technically. You got to close the kind of loop before you can jam pack there a court and a judge. Let me play this one anyway. So the learned counsel for the residents, that is Mr. Sampson, he kind of argues that because of the yellow-colored smoke harmful for health emitted through the chimney, so his argument is that scrubbing has not been provided. That's his argument. So, but the counter argument is that in that requirement was somewhere in 2014. So, and somehow I don't know how this statement comes about in judgment. Therefore, direction were given to implement the modification and to prevent chances of the air pollution. In pursuant thereto, that the subsequent inspection by the PCB and has been found that the unit is functioning in conformity with the prescribed norms and standards. Hence, see, wonderful, right? PCB took a total side of the plant owner. All right. So now we will move on to play the next audio. The last part is very interesting. And in case you do not know, this is a PDF version, Foxit PDF version, where you can embed audio, but you need the same version to play the audio. I don't think it will play on any other PDF. So is the judge correct? Yes, the judge is correct in this aspect too, because he says, hence the allegations leveled against the unit on the ground of pollution prima facie case cannot be sustained on the materials presently available on record. So നമ്മൾ കൊടുത്ത evidence was not sufficient. Do you understand that, people? Please understand this. And how do you say that you can take this to the higher court or Supreme Court? The people who say that kind of things, there's something wrong with their head. Exactly. So either they're not reading this thing, or they're not capable, or they have lost the capability to read. So now we'll jump to paragraph number 12. All right. Now the Kutigaran's lawyers are saying that based on PCB statement that the unit is functioning, complying with all the requirements and norms, everything, but no, nothing, there's no material on record to come to a different conclusion. That's a judgment. That's a judgment. So the judge thinks there's nothing else that the residents, lawyers have produced, and residents have produced to go against the thing. So there you go, you are screwed. Without sufficient material and study, it could not be concluded the function of the unit, which is run with compliance with the required norms and standards, is causing health hazard. So they have thrown you out. Okay, let's play that video, my version which I recorded earlier. So is the judge correct? Yes, the judge is correct in this aspect too. So I don't need to make excuses for anybody. I know exactly what has happened, and I'm conveying it exactly the way it is for you. So we know at this point of time the case was lost. It's done. It was cooked. And we know where to go with this. And all of you must know too. So I had to repeat that twice to drive home the point. Never again should I hear anybody talk about taking to the Supreme Court. Generally, it's like that. The Supreme Court only looks at what has been. There's no chance for you to introduce new evidence on the way it's going to the Supreme Court. All right. So, and nevertheless, it's going to be expensive. It's going to be held somewhere else, and finally, it'll be a waste of money. And they may not even admit such a case, as though they got nothing else to do. Okay. We'll come to the fine part of it. You see, it's typical in any court. They will use other references. The court will use some other references, usually copy and paste maybe. And they will say the apex court meanings. I don't know what that means, but it's a reference to other courts or some important court somewhere. Maybe they mean Supreme Court or somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what the heck that means. Uh, this is my comment. This is no complex.
Court cases ആണ് വേറൊരു കേസിൽ നിന്നുള്ള റെഫറൻസ് ഒക്കെ കൊണ്ടുവരും. എപ്പെക്സ് കോർട്ടിന്റെ റെഫറൻസ് ആണ് പറയുന്നത്. So this is not cutting edge science. This is the court cannot sit in judgment over the cutting edge of scientific analysis relating to the safety of any project. This is not cutting edge science. This is not rocket science. അവിടാണ് കോർട്ടിന് പറ്റിയ തമാശ. ആർട്ടിഫിഷ്യൽ റെസ്പെക്ട് യോ ഓണർ എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞ് വലിയ കഥയൊക്കെ കാണിക്കും കോർട്ടിൽ. പക്ഷെ ദേ ആർ ജസ്റ്റ് human beings. They are just as flawed as anybody else. In other words, they are saying സയൻസ് ഒന്നും അറിയാത്തവരാണ് അവിടെ പൊട്ടം കളിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നവരാണ് ജഡ്ജസ് എന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചാൽ മതി. ഫണ്ടമെന്റലി ജഡ്ജിന്റെ ജോലി ന്യൂട്രലാ, ഒന്നും അറിയാത്തവരായിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ലോയേഴ്സ് ആർഗ്യൂ ചെയ്ത് അവരെ കൺവിൻസ് ചെയ്യണം. അത് നമ്മുടെ ലോയറിന്റെ കുഴപ്പമാണ്. Don't blame the judge. I will not blame the judge, but I'm just criticizing the situation.
So do you understand that now? Probably yes. Let's move further down. So I will play this in. Such matters must be left to the mature wisdom of the government. So അവർക്ക് വലിയ ഇൻവോൾവ്മെന്റ് ഒന്നുമില്ല. Court is washing their hands out. It is their forte and wisdom of the implementing agency. PCB ആണ് അവിടുത്തെ എക്സ്പെർട്ട്. PCBയെ ഡിസ്ക്രെഡിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ നമ്മുടെ ലോയറിനുള്ള ഒറ്റ ബുള്ളറ്റ് ഇല്ലായിരുന്നു. That is for clear cut in all these cases. They were elevated to that level as expert. I would have reduced them to scum level. I mean, with due respect. You cannot do that to the level I say, but today in outside world we can do that. Maybe in court, അവരെ വലിയ കാലാത്ത് കാണിച്ചു വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, യു ആണോ എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞ് വലിയ കളി കളിപ്പിക്കണം. Outside we don't need to do all that. This is all artificial respect. This is where this is all gimmicky. Okay, now let me play this one. We'll walk through this one later.
Area we are talking about, whether they took a well-informed decision or not. If the answer is yes, then there is no need to interfere. What if it's no? We know it's a no. They did not make a well-informed decision. When do they get a well-informed decision? When they have referred to all other agencies in the world, and especially the EPA, then they would have got a well-informed decision. So now in this is definitely not. This is where the judge should have been. That should have been argued and pointed out there. Finally, I do not understand. The consideration is in these cases is the process of decision, not in the merits. I don't even understand what that even means. Nothing but a bunch of words probably borrowed from some other judgment. What a maroon.
Exactly, what a maroon. What a maroon is said in a cynical way where you don't want to say what a moron. This is I've seen this in some movies, and that's why it's used that way. All right, So you must understand what was being said here. But this is a hands-off situation. The court is throwing all the weight behind the PCB, and our lawyer did not have any argument about no way to discredit the PCB. And they are saying here the only point considered is whether decision-making agency, that is the PCB, took a well-informed decision. Ask any of you, did they make a well-informed decision? We know they did not. If the answer is yes, he did not say anything about no. He's just going with one-sided, lopsided story. Then there's no to Indian favor. What about no? Yeah, we know it is a no, but the concern in such cases is the process of decision, not in its merit. See, this is not even a fit statement in this case. Anyway, I'll leave it there. We'll go on to the next one, okay? So it is not, they are washing hands further. So no, they are saying that in this case, statutory authority, namely the PCB, has taken into consideration relevant materials, is, blowing the trumpet of PCB, conducted inspection and reached a conclusion, not for the court to overstep the wisdom of the PCB. Unless such conclusion arrived, whether he is found to be ex facie, arbitrary or malified. This is where it is. So that is a window given. They don't want to judge, but they are giving it option that this all could be done in bad faith. So let's play that and see. In which case, what happens?
This is an extremely laughable statement. You see, the court thinks that in this instance, the statutory authority, namely the PCB, has taken into consideration relevant materials. I don't know what relevant material they have considered, has conducted inspection and reached a conclusion. It is not for the court to overstep into the wisdom of such authority unless such conclusion arrived at the authority is found to be ex facie, arbitrary or malified. Malified, especially on the face of it, looks like it is in bad faith. So that's exactly what it is. Definitely malified. You don't even have to second guess it.
All right. So that's said. So we are moving on. So of course they are referring to some other court, apex court again. I generally consider this as a court drama and a show, and winding down nonsense, and just dressing up. That's all. So they are saying when the license should be given and setting the date. This may have been reduced to 7 days and all that these days. I don't give a crap out of all that. So now finally we come to the final door. That is the door the judge has left open. So this I have told you all many, many times. You have to play it, give it attention. However, before parting with the case, it is necessary to give and will be open. Necessary observe that will be open to the residents, bring to the notice of the statutory authorities with due and sufficient material. We have produced enough sufficient material subsequently. We have provided that their measurements were all nonsense. We have shown that to both to everybody, to PCB and to the Panchayat, and they're still not doing anything. We have shown that the license in the first place was all done out of cheating, and yet, see, if you do cheating to get your license, was the cheating valid? Logically, no. But look at it where it stands today. The guy is still running his plant. So you tell me, what's wrong with all of you people?
The word shall, the PCB and Panchayat shall എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ വേണേ ചെയ്തോളാം, വേണേ ചെയ്തോ. It did not say will, shall. So you read it nicely. You read it nicely and understand ആരുടെ കയ്യിലായി ഇപ്പം ഇരിക്കുന്നത്. Who do we approach immediately? It's a Panchayat and PCB.
Now, do you get that, people? Do you understand that very well? Do I need to spell it out some more? This judgment was predominantly done by Satish Nainan. Okay, we will leave it that there. We will ask Satish Nainan, but he agrees with it. He may have problems with this judgment. He may have problems with my argument and my criticism. If I was in the court, he would say contempt of court. You may throw me in jail. But now he can't do that. I am free. I'm a free man. I can criticize this thing. That's why you live in a free country.